Hey there guys, Pwnobi here bringing you a Pokemon Narrated Wi-Fi battle. This is going to be a 5th generation RU tier match. Hopefully you guys will enjoy. It's been a while since I've used my RU tier team. You can see I do have a couple of changes. I'm using Primeape instead of Alakazam since that got switched. I'm using Musharna instead of Cresselia because that got switched. So yeah, hopefully you guys will enjoy. I got a question for you guys today. What is a favorite movie quote of yours? I was actually inspired to ask this question because of WandereroftheWind, my opponent in my latest Pokemoshpit battle, which posted yesterday if you want to check that out. There's also a link to that on my Facebook if you want to check my Facebook out. There's like a jungle of links in the description if you want to try to navigate through that to find all this stuff. But yeah, hopefully you guys are going to enjoy this game. And he started all his videos off recently with movie quotes, and I thought it was really interesting and cool. And I thought I'd ask my subscribers what theirs was. So that is the dealio. So let's go ahead and get into this game. You could probably tell from the team preview, his team is really offensive. Really weak to Stealth Rocks, but it has a lot of really hard hitters. So I'm going to have to play around his offensive style and basically try to do what I do best, which is put a lot of pressure on his team, force him to make switches, and slowly gain the advantage. So I'm going to go to my Qwilfish knowing I can take a U-turn, even from Scyther, which is an immense poke, very well thanks to the Intimidate, my max HP and max defense EVs. And it's going to make him want to go into his, like, Shellos, or whatever that thing is called, the mini Gastrodon. I don't really remember, to be honest. But that's amazing for me because the best poke I have to deal with that is going to be my my Ferroseed, which lets me set up the Stealth Rocks, as you just witnessed. I'm getting a little behind here. So knowing that his Entei, without the Japanese nickname, is probably special-oriented since it's illegal for it to have Flare Blitz and Extreme Speed, I'm going to go to my Clofu, my Special Wall, just to tank those Fire Blasts, even with a crit, and set up a Wish. I think he got a Fire Blast miss there, so things are all kind of evening out. No big deal. Hacks isn't too big of an issue as of yet. Gonna go ahead and go for the Seismic Toss, knowing that I should be able to take a Flamethrower, or a Fire Blast rather, and heal myself up relatively well, and with no recovery on his Entei, he would not enjoy taking one of those Seismic Tosses. I'm lucky he wasn't a sub-Combine Entei. That counters Clefable pretty well and most Seismic Toss users. So anyway, gonna go ahead and go into my Qwilfish. It's physically bulky, as I already stated, so it should be able to stall him pretty well. And also, it's going to give me a great opportunity to set up more entry hazards in the early game. Although my opponent hasn't made any particularly weird plays as of yet, he's really letting me get way too much set up in the early game, and it could really come back to bite him if he doesn't put a lot of pressure on me soon. So knowing that, or maybe just intuitively trying to progress his assault, he's going to go ahead and go to his Honchkrow, set up a Substitute. I unfortunately don't have any real move to deal with Substitute on this Qwilfish because I have Haze as my last move, which does a really good job of dealing with a lot of setup pokes, but it's not going to help me break this Substitute. So since I run Aqua Jet instead of Waterfall, it's going to take 2 hits for me to kill this sub, which is really unfortunate. And even though it's unfortunate, at the same time, it's not too bad because my team is fairly well built to the extent that it has a way to deal with situations like this. So knowing that he's going to want to go for the Substitute again because my Aqua Jet can't break it, and it would take me like 3 turns to break the sub since my Aqua Jet would go before Substitute, I am going to switch up to my Primeape, predicting the sub so that on the next turn, since I'm faster, I can go for the Encore. Primeape has a higher base speed, plus I'm a plus speed nature, and I'm guessing he's in a plus attack nature based on the damage he did to my Qwilfish. So that's going to be great for me. It's going to allow me to U-turn out, go back to my Qwilfish, knowing that I'd be able to break the sub. And it's going to get me an Intimidate on this Honchkrow, which is going to minus his attacks by 1 stage. And then since I know that he has to use Substitute 2 more times, it's going to allow me to switch back to Primeape and basically wash, rinse, repeat that little situation. So that's going to be really good for me. I'm really loving my new Alakazam, I guess, fill-in. It sort of just started as a last moment thing, but it's actually been testing out really well, so I just love the move U-turn. I guess I'm a Wild Chase fan at heart because U-turn is doing a lot of work these days. But anyway, so I'm gonna go back into my Puffing Tom, like I said, go for the Intimidate, and he's just gonna go for a Brave Bird, I guess, in case I wanted to stay in with my Primeape, and also just to wear down my Qwilfish since it has no recovery. Now, I could give my Qwilfish Pain Split. I actually used to have Pain Split on there, but I replaced it for Haze because being able to stop sweepers is pretty important, and Black Sludge recovery with Intimidate usually does the trick, especially with Wish passing from Clefable. But regardless, that's besides the point. Just going to go to my My Ferroseed. The reason I didn't go to Ferroseed earlier, in case anyone was wondering, is because in 4th generation, Honchkrow is pretty notorious for carrying Heat Wave. And since I've been playing so much 4th gen lately, I just really could not ignore that possibility. Heat Wave Honchkrow, in my opinion, is the superior set of Honchkrows. So, yeah, I didn't want to risk that since that is such an important member of my team. So he goes back to this guy, Scraggy, or mini evolution of that OU Dark fighting guy. And I'm just going to switch into my Qwilfish, knowing that I can wall him. I would be able to finish him off with an Aqua Jet. But sadly, he carries Rest. Rest and Shed Skin is just one of those things that I think is actually really good, and I really like it. Unfortunately, it's on an NFE in this case, and I'm not a big fan of using NFEs in NU and RU. But I really loved using Rest Talkers, like Hariyama is a Rest Talker that I used a lot in 4th generation UU. So this kind of made me reminisce of those times, and I kind of really like the way he's playing this guy. But knowing that I can take a crunch really well with my Primeape, and based on the last couple plays, it's obvious he's going to go for that. I am just going to go to my Primeape, force him out, go for the close combat right away. I could go for the U-turn because the switch is pretty obvious, but I decided to just stay in, go for the close combat. Nothing on his team is going to want to take a close combat. And since I outspeed the majority of his team, if not all of his team other than Tauros, yeah, I could, or actually Tauros and Scyther, my mistake. I could just go for 2 close combats on whatever he switched in and do work. So he brings in his Scyther, knowing that he can take close combats really well. Obviously with the 4 times resistance. So I am just going to Death Fodder my Qwilfish to get the Intimidate, because with that Intimidate, it's going to lower the attack prowess of this Scyther immensely, and he can't really afford to switch out because of the Stealth Rocks. So now going into my I Will Box You, because I do have that Iron Barbs, I can just go for the Leech Seed, put a lot of pressure on his team. If he wanted to switch out, then he'd only have 1 HP on his Scyther when he brought it back in, and whatever he went in on would take Leech Seed, and he doesn't have a Grass type, so either way I thought it was a good move. Now, knowing that he still has just a wee little bit of health left, I'm thinking that I can make him live if I switch to my Musharna and take the Leech Seed, which is good. I actually did not want him to die that turn because I knew that it'd be a great opportunity for me to set up my Reflect, which is the reason I didn't just stay in an additional turn with my Ferroseed. But that second Aerial Ace, I think I've been saying Air Slash, that second Aerial Ace, I think got max damage or something, because it did a shit ton, and now I'm sitting on half health. But regardless, even with half health, I know that since I'm a defensive Musharna plus Reflect, I should be able to take a hit reasonably well and just go for that Moonlight. Moonlight being a pretty reliable form of recovery in the lower tiers, since there's not really any Weather Wars roaming about. Except for now that Sand has been penetrated its way into UU. I guess that's a different story. But anyway, just going to go into my I Will Box You, my Ferroseed on his Tauros, knowing that I can take his physical hits really well, and he'll take that Iron Barbs damage, and I can set up the Leech Seed, and there's the Toxic Poison, and this team basically just doing what it does. It's kind of zoning his pokes, if you will. And yeah, so he's going to go back into his Scraggy, save his Tauros for Death Fodder for later, maybe just in case something unfortunate befalls his Scraggy. I don't really know what. Maybe he feels she'll need a Death Fodder. It's not like his Tauros would have done anything on that turn anyway, and it would have just died. Especially if I had Protect up, I wasn't really paying attention. But with the Leech Seed, I know that I can just go out into my Hitmonchan. And because my Hitmonchan has Mach Punch and Drain Punch, I know that a Drain Punch Mach Punch combo should be able to kill this guy before he's able to really do anything unless he goes for the rest. But as you can see here, he actually doesn't even survive the Drain Punch. And that's with, like, what, +2 bulk ups? I guess that super effective stab, Adamant, Max Attack, Drain Punch is just OP. Too good, and it is going to take him out. So he brings in his Entei here. He's down to only, like, 2 or 3 pokes, I believe 3. Goes for the extra Sensory because it's that super effective damage. But I am able to finish him off with the Drain Punch, Mach Punch combo. Obviously, his leftovers will negate the first turn of Toxic Poison, which is the way it's always been. And Jesus Christ, this game is pretty much coming to a close. Unfortunately, I've been playing a lot lately. I've been playing a lot of 5th generation NU, but I'm trying to get a couple of games stockpiled up before I post them all. And unfortunately, I'm not having too many close games, and I really want to bring you guys some really high intensity battles. So hopefully I can find a couple closer games. I thought this game was actually pretty interesting to see how he played this really hyper offensive team. it was really, really weak to stealth rocks. So I think, you know, putting the wrong pokes pressure on me let me get my rocks up too early for him, and that pretty much sealed his fate. And that's basically going to be the game. But hopefully you guys still enjoyed. Hopefully it was still a fun game for you. Hopefully you guys are also liking this quality. I've been changing and editing quality a lot since I got Sony Vegas. Hopefully you guys can notice, and hopefully it's enjoyable. And basically the quote that I'm going to reveal that I liked is, as if by some form of slut magic. To give you a little bit of reference here, it's from the movie Waiting. If you haven't seen the movie Waiting, the first one, I found it really enjoyable. I thought it was really funny. It has that one actor in it whose name I always forget. Ryan Reynolds? There you go, Ryan Reynolds. And this quote's actually from his character. He was speaking with an ex-girlfriend, and he says something to the effect of, you know, whenever I was horny, I gave you a call, and as if by some form of slut magic you would appear. Something along those lines. And just the way it flowed off his tongue and the way that everyone reacted, I thought it was really enjoyable, really funny. And that's going to be my quote for today. So hopefully you guys have one too, and you can go ahead and leave it below, or you can leave it on my Facebook if you want me to check it there and respond there. If you haven't checked out my Facebook, it's a good place to keep up with my videos. You guys know that. You know the drill. Like the video if you enjoyed. Trying to get a read on where people are, especially with this quality issue. I think it looks a lot better, but maybe I spend too much time looking at videos, so maybe it doesn't even matter to some of you guys. But anyway, hope you enjoyed. Check out my Pokemoshpit video. Check out my opponent's channel if you'd like. Check out WandereroftheWind, my opponent for my Pokemoshpit videos channel if you'd like. And I am talking way too much, so I'm going to catch you guys later. Hopefully you have a nice day. Peace out.